9.
Main engine start.
8, 7, 1 fence released. About 5 seconds, Watney. Hang on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Velocity 741 meters per second. Altitude 1350 meters. It's super.
I know it's fighting.
Velocity is the altitude 1850. He's well below sea level. How far do you Watney. You read.
Probably passed out.
Pete Cantori here, checking it. Checking in from Summerville, South Carolina, directly in the path of Hurricane Ian. We're expecting landfall here and in the Charleston area sometime in the next couple of hours. I would not go outside unless you're a professional like myself. If you look behind me, you can see just how bad the wind is. The rain is starting to pick up. It's very, very dangerous. As a matter of fact, just a few minutes ago, I actually saw a baby, flying through the air. So if anybody's missing a baby, it's around here somewhere, and once things calm down, I'll actually go look for the baby. But in the meantime, if you do have to go outside, even in your own backyard, I would advise wearing protective equipment. What kind of protective equipment do you ask, Pete Cantori? Well, certainly a helmet, right? Because there's branches flying, babies flying. It's very, very dangerous out here. God knows what you might get hit by. A baseball helmet. If you don't have a motorcycle helmet, maybe a baseball helmet will suffice. I don't know, a football helmet, maybe that'll do. If you're on the coast, be very, very careful. If you're on the Isle of Palms, the site of the 2023 Slob Olympics, be very, very careful. We're expecting a big-time storm surge. Oh, geez Christ, there's a big gusts of wind. It's very dangerous. But of course, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the Slob Olympics. At the site of the Slob Olympics, if you're down there, we're expecting a big storm surge. So be very, very careful. Do not leave your house. You should have evacuated already. If you didn't evacuate and you're on the coast and you're just a complete and total moron, that's on you at this point. I can't save you, okay? And I'm not going to. I couldn't even save that baby that was flying through the air. But anyway, everybody be very, very careful. I'm a professional. You have to remember that, okay? I'm a professional and you are not. Pete Cantori, I travel all over the country and even all over the world sometimes to track down these storms. And I'm still alive, barely, okay? And I'm a professional. I'm gonna keep saying that because it's true. I'm a professional and you're an amateur. So do not go outside. Stay away from windows. Make sure you have plenty of well, it doesn't matter at this point. You should have already prepared because you're gonna lose power. Things are gonna get really bad. And well, I gotta go because I got to get inside. But anyway, Pete Cantori checking out.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Midday show. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, so obviously the big news of the day is Hurricane Idalia is currently making landfall somewhere. It was supposed to hit Gainesville, I think, but it moved north. Now it's up in the Panhandle area, I guess Panama City, Tallahassee. I don't know. If somebody's down there can let me know exactly what it's like down there. I saw Twisted Rooster. He's down there in the, where is he? St. Pete area, I think, the Tampa area. He said they didn't get the bad part of it, but they still had some flooding and, high winds and whatnot. We're getting tornado warnings and stuff here. I think it's not supposed to get really bad till late this afternoon and into tonight. I have no idea what to expect, but I did spend the past couple of hours out bringing in all my lawn furniture and whatnot. So that's fun. But let's see who's in the chat here today. I was searching for some actual Jim Cantori, not Pete Cantori, videos on YouTube to see if he was down there covering this storm because he is extremely entertaining. But I couldn't find anything. I don't know if did he retire? I don't know what's going on with him. Oops. I don't know what's going on with him. Kevron Harris is here. The Nature Boy. Volusia. Oh shit, are we getting caned again over there? Yeah. In your home state, buddy. Luigi Green. What's Pete's Florida State versus LSU prediction? We talked about it last night on the ACC show. I have Florida State winning by a field goal, which is right around what the spread is there. Slim Shady Canes. Hurricane people, bro. Jeremy Garrettson. Third and Nate. John Doman. Yeah, Pete. I don't think it's going to get quite bad enough for Pete Cantori to come to Charleston, South Carolina. He's got bigger fish to fry down there in Florida. Chunky D33. Yeah, 5 more days. And 1 more day until the start of 5 straight days of college football. Of course, tomorrow night I will be live. At what time? What time will I be live tomorrow? Somebody remind me. Yeah, 8 o'clock. So I'll probably go on around 7:45 or so. And we'll watch some football tomorrow night. Who else we got in here? George. There's Twisted Rooster. Be safe up there. It's a big storm. We are still getting storms and wind in Fort Myers. Yeah, you be safe, man. I think you're going to get it worse than we are. Brad Pitt, Broski Bear, Hoghead, Zona Tucson, Pete Magaha. You saw Pete Cantori in Maggie Valley during the blizzard back in the yes, Pete Cantori was in Maggie Valley for the blizzard. That is true. D. Taylor. Perry, Florida is where the eye wall hit. Okay. Usually the worst part of the storm is just east of the eye wall. That's the strongest winds. So I don't know where that would be. Celine Driver is okay. That's good. Stingray. Sir UGAAA. What's up, Casino Bro? Battle Angel. J-Dub 13-120. Seminoles Seth. A free day off work. Yeah. Kids are on the way home from school. They got early out today. I don't know what they're doing. They made them go in for like 3 hours today for no reason. And then tomorrow, once the storm's going to be pretty much gone, I mean, the worst of it's tonight. And then tomorrow they have e-learning. So they get to stay home, but they have to, get on their computer and take class on their computer. I mean, anyway, don't even get me started on that. Back in the day, if they had bad weather, they just canceled school for the day. You didn't have to do it from home. Nick DTV, Squan Man. What games are you attending this season? Well, the plan is to go Clemson and Notre Dame on November 4th in Clemson. You should try to make it to one, at least one a year. And that's the one that I want to go to the most. Mrs. Peete is going to the Backyard Brawl. Yeah, Pittsburgh and West Virginia. That's going to be a slaughter, I think, though. Yep. Anyway, I don't know. I think the news, if we read the news, is going to be dominated by this hurricane. Let me see if I can find anything on YouTube about it. The problem is that all of the live shows, for people that are down there covering the storm, almost all of them are verified channels, and those are the ones that have the power to have your stream removed if they don't want you playing their stuff. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's a gamble. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of these are like, ABC Action News and Live Fox News and the Today Show. And I'm looking for just some, YouTuber that lives there who's out, getting footage. Who's this guy? This thing, it landed as a Category 3, I think. Strong Category 3. All right, well. I guess we'll do business as usual then.
Breaking news from the PigskinPeete YouTube channel.
Yeah, someone just mentioned Ryan Hall, y'all, that weather YouTuber. I did see that he was live down there. Again, I don't know if he'd have it taken down or not. Let's see what they say here. Made landfall near Keaton Beach as a Category 3 hurricane. Will trek northeast over Florida and into Georgia and later into the Carolinas before moving into the Atlantic Ocean. There's the precipitation. I'm right here-ish. So it looks like we're going to get pounded with some rain later on. I'm actually more worried here. I don't think maybe at that time the winds might be in 50 miles an hour or so, which is which can take down limbs and stuff. But of course, I'm more worried about tornado activity around here. That's really what you got to worry about. Let's see if it says. The storm then forecast to turn northeast and east-northeast, sending it near or along the coast of Georgia and the Carolinas through Thursday. The forecast shows it being a tropical storm by the time it leaves South Carolina and enters the Atlantic Ocean. That's actually not good that it's going back out into the Atlantic. It could re-strengthen into a hurricane again. Isn't that what happened? What's that one storm that devastated New Jersey because it just kind of hugged up along the coastline and just got stronger and stronger, and then it ended up hitting the Northeast? Octavian, you live in Tallahassee. Yeah, be safe, man. That is one thing, is also losing power. I'm worried about that. I do have a call-in show scheduled for, college football call-in show scheduled for tonight, and that's right when it's going to be at its worst, so. We'll see. All right. Myron Burrell, who was sent to prison for life as a teen but set free in 2020, is arrested. He was set free after 18 years behind bars, was arrested in Minneapolis suburb Tuesday after police said they found a handgun and drugs in his SUV. Oh, God. Imagine beating a life charge, and then you're running around with guns and drugs in your car. Burrow, now 37, was released in 2020 after Minneapolis Pardons Board commuted his sentence in a high-profile murder case. And the man's prosecution and harsh punishment raised questions about the integrity of the criminal justice system that put him away for the death of a young girl killed by a stray bullet. Of course, he was out there speeding. The release said there was an indication of active drug use in the vehicle and that a loaded handgun was found within reach of the driver. Unpackaged marijuana and other suspected drugs were also found in the SUV. Yeah. This better show a video. A dashboard camera catches a disturbing video of tailgating truck moments before crashing into a median. No, they're showing still pictures. I want to see a video. No good. A shooting at a White Sox game happened after a woman hid gun in her belly. Don't they have metal detectors at these stadiums? Every professional sporting event I've ever been to, or college sporting event also, they have metal detectors when you walk in. New details have emerged after a shooting injured 2 women at Guaranteed Rate Field during a Chicago White Sox game on Friday night. On Tuesday, Chicago reporter Peggy Kaczynski said that the gun was snuck into the stadium by one of the women who was hit. So one of the people the person who snuck the gun in is the one that got shot with it. The shooting was an accidental discharge. Okay, that's why. By the woman whose injury was previously identified as a graze wound. She reportedly snuck the gun in past metal detectors, hiding it in the folds of her belly fat. God damn. I'll leave that alone. She reportedly snuck in the gun past... Yeah, okay, I just said that. Police previously said the 42-year-old woman sustained 1 gunshot wound to the leg, and a 26-year-old woman also sustained a graze wound to the abdomen. The shooting happened during the 4th inning of the game against the Oakland A's. Police initially requested that the game be stopped, but it went on due to lack of perceived threat. Then they didn't even stop the game. We allowed the game to continue not to create panic. Yeah, probably a good idea. Imagine you're sitting next to that woman, right? You're eating your hot dog and drinking your $18 beer, and all of a sudden she shoots herself in the leg. I was looking at the, speaking of football here, I was watching, shit, now I can't remember the name of the guy's channel. Some of you Florida State fans might know who he is. And I don't remember who. I could probably go through my YouTube history and see if it's still on there from yesterday. But the video was just posted yesterday, and he's still going on and on about how Florida State and Clemson are leaving the ACC soon. But here we go. Sources: ACC presidents meeting on conference expansion to include Cal, Stanford, and SMU. His whole line of thinking was the reason that the ACC is bringing in Cal, Stanford, and SMU is because they know that Florida State and Clemson are leaving the ACC, and there's a clause in the contract with ESPN that if the conference drops below 14 teams, then they have the power to restructure the revenue that's divvied out for the TV deal. So his theory is that they're expanding the ACC not because they're trying to bring in big names or add more revenue. They're doing it to protect themselves for the inevitable departure of Clemson and Florida State. Now, I mean, that's a cool theory and all, but I don't know if I'm buying it. ACC presidents are scheduled to meet on a call Monday evening to discuss and potentially take action on expanding to add Cal, Stanford, and SMU. 3 weeks of deep exploration into the 3-team expansion plan appears to be at its end, with the determination coming from the meeting soon afterward. The league needs support from 12 of the 15 members to pass the expansion proposal. I think they'll get that. I don't know. Over the last several days, momentum has been building in support of expansion, a change from 2.5 weeks ago. and a straw poll of presidents. What the fuck? What just happened? I didn't even touch anything. Just jumped. Where was I? Over the last several days, momentum has been building in support of expansion. In a straw poll of presidents August 9th, an expansion vote fell at least one vote short of passing. There were 4 dissenters: Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and NC State. Notre Dame receives a vote as the 15th member and supports expansion. They should not be getting a vote if they're not a full-time member of the conference. Why would they be voting on the affairs of a conference when they're independent? Commissioner Jim Phillips has driven much of the discussion of late, keeping alive the proposal along with the officials from Notre Dame, who have publicly and privately supported the measure. Phillips presented new financial models to presidents and athletic directors in several meetings that unfolded last week. However, it remains uncertain if all 4 dissenters... It just jumped again. Yahoo, bro. Fix your website. It's glitchy. The new financial figures are at the center of the latest push. The ACC stands to bring in $72 million in annual additional revenue from the expansion, a large portion of which would be distributed to conference members both evenly and also through incentive pool based on athletic success. In other words, the better teams will get paid more. That's what that means. You know, you get bonuses for playoff appearances in basketball, you have Final Four, you know, that kind of thing. Kate Club Dick, thank you for the super chat. Why the hell does Notre Dame get a say in football? The new ACC commissioner should get his wife's boyfriend to broker the deals instead, since she's the one with the balls. Oh, man. Yeah, I understand, Dylan, that Notre Dame is an ACC team in other sports. I get that. But look, football is what drives all those other sports. And then really that's what this is about. Let me see if I can find this guy's video. Hold on, give me a second. Look something up real quick. All right, I think this is the guy. This guy's channel is called Florida State Football Double Fries No Slaw. Give me a second. I'll pull it up. That's a hell of a name of a YouTube channel, by the way. All right. I'm going to play this video for you because I probably did a terrible job of explaining his theory here. So I'll let him explain it.
Did you know that it only takes a wind speed of 45 miles an hour to cause damage to your home's roof or exterior? Roof shingles.
Just when you thought the conference realignment bombs were done and it might slow down a bit so that we could get on with the season, another one dropped. And we're going to tell you everything that you need to know about it today. Brett McMurphy tweeted yesterday, one reason the ACC is considering adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU is ESPN's media rights deal with ACC allows the ESPN to renegotiate. Example, reduced revenue if the league drops below 15 members. With the potential future departures of Florida State, Clemson, and others, the ACC is considering the Power 5 schools now as opposed to Group of 5 schools later to maintain the required membership number. What does this mean? It means there's a composition clause within the grant of rights between ESPN and the ACC saying if you drop below the 15 members that you have, 14 full members in Notre Dame, we can renegotiate your price. So, with the pending departures of Florida State and Clemson and all of the trolls out there that continue to say those teams aren't getting out and they're not leaving or moving on, why is this happening? Well, it's obvious. Those teams are moving on. Those teams are leaving. And so let's just ask, what would the grant of rights be worth without Florida State and Clemson as part of this conference? I think you guys know the answer to this, but it is very, very little. The ACC is absolutely desperate to add teams right now, not because it makes sense to add teams from a travel, geographical, logistical, or competitive reason. They're just trying to cover their tails because when the number falls below 15, whether it's this year, next year, 25, whenever, they're done. The ACC and ESPN will go back to the drawing board, and ESPN will say, hey, look, your media rights deal is worth a hill of beans without Florida State and Clemson here. Those are just the facts. There's no way that they can continue to.
So part of what I think what he's about to say is that, well, he's going to say two things. He's going to say that Florida State and Clemson could still potentially forfeit their home game revenue if they go to the SEC. For some reason, he talks about the SEC, not the Big Ten. I guess because ESPN broadcasts SEC and not the Big Ten. But anyway, his theory is here that ESPN is not only going to, they're going to facilitate this. They're going to help Florida State and Clemson leave the ACC for a financial benefit for them as well. That's what he's about to say.
Operate on the limited revenue, and once everyone else's dollars drop and they're not making $35 or so million a year, they will look to other pastures. They will look to greener pastures, and they will escape the ACC as well.
Get NFL Sunday Ticket now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Sign up in time for NFL Kickoff Weekend.
How does this help the Seminoles and Tigers that are in this debacle or mess? Well, Regal Knoll on the On3 FSU message board has been posting this for months, but FSU and Clemson and potentially two other teams have the ACC by the absolute you-know-what. The ACC can either play ball.
Now, this is where he loses me. He's of the opinion that Clemson and Florida State have the ACC by the balls. He won't say balls. I will. Balls. Yeah.
All with Clemson, Florida State, and others, or the composition clause within the grant of rights absolutely screws them. The best news for FSU fans at this point is that ESPN seems to be on our side. If they weren't, they could simply just tell the ACC that they wouldn't screw them over with the composition clause if we leave. But they're not doing that. Side note, they'd be very dumb to do that because the conference and the conference's media rights and the GOR, they're worth significantly less without Florida State and Clemson here. So why would ESPN have the ACC side? They'd be certainly dumb to do so. But ESPN and Florida State and Clemson are all trying to accomplish the same things. The negotiations that have to be going on right now are absolutely wild. But the major theory, or the prevailing theory from Regal, Knoll, and others, is this: Florida State and Clemson are using this to negotiate a buyout with the help of ESPN. In exchange, the ACC loses some money from Florida State and Clemson going, but their conference doesn't fall apart because they're able to add more teams. And ESPN is not able to renegotiate that deal. Now, there's an obvious and potential cog.
If Florida State and Clemson were to somehow leave the conference, hypothetically, right? Adding SMU and Cal and whoever is Stanford. It's not that is not saving the conference. Okay, will it allow the TV deal to stay the way that it currently is structured? Yeah, but they're still going to lose massive amounts of money.
In the wheel here, and I want to talk to you about that as soon as I give some love to our friends over at Gramco. TheGramco.com right now. Use code TJ25. They're the best in Delta 8 in the market.
This man's peddling weed gummies,
helping us as we've continued to grow and as we've continued to push this platform forward. Make sure that you're supporting TheGramco.com. Got some exciting announcements coming with them and because of them soon. So we appreciate them for their support. Make sure that you're only getting your Delta 8 at TheGramco.com. The big cog in the wheel in all of this is, what about UNC and NC State? Those are the teams that, if any of the 4 no votes were to buckle, I would be worried the most about them. Now, Florida State, the folks that I chat with there, are doing everything they can to hold the line. I posted the GIF on Twitter of Hodor trying to hold the door back, trying to keep the other teams out of the ACC, because the longer this goes on, the more likely Florida State is to get out. When more teams are added, if they're added before Florida State and Clemson are to take off, I don't think that spells very good things for the Noles. And
see, the one thing is, I have a lot of problems with what he's saying, but one of the big problems I have with what he's saying is, he's using these very broad statements about when they leave and all this. Give me a time frame, right? Are we talking 2024? Are we talking 2030? Because there's a big difference. Because I do agree that it's feasible. The closer you get to the end of the grant of rights deal, the more possible it becomes to happen. Because every year that goes by, it's less and less money to get out. But he's not saying a date. He's leaving it very open-ended.
In Tigers long term. Now, this hasn't been widely reported, but I'm fairly confident on this. I don't think that it's just those 4 teams that are holding this up. It would really shock me if a team like Miami wasn't in lockstep with Florida State and Clemson. And I know we like to give them a lot of hard time. I know we like to make Hurricanes jokes. I know that they do incredibly shady things, both on and off the field. That's all fine. Miami does have one of the larger brands in this conference, and so for them to not be one of the ones trying to hold out other teams would come as a bit of a shock to me. And I've said this. I think Miami is not as valuable of a brand as Florida State and Clemson. I think that's obvious. Probably somewhere around the UNC level, maybe a tad above or below. But they're probably not getting out as quickly as Florida State and Clemson are. But they certainly have a better brand than the ACC. As much as we hate the Hurricanes or hate the Gators or hate this team or that team, I think we can just be real with ourselves and say Miami should be out of this conference. And so it's been reported that the 4 no votes right now are Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and NC State. I think some of that might be posturing, positioning. Miami very likely would vote with you as well. And then I think there are other teams that are maybe like on the fence as well, maybe like a Virginia or whomever. So it wouldn't shock me if there are actually more than those 4 teams, and one of those teams doesn't end up being a cog in the wheel. Maybe you lose NC State, but you retain Miami, or maybe you lose North Carolina, but you pick up Virginia or another team in the conference. In a worst case scenario where they do vote to, say you don't pick up anybody else, but they do add 2 or 3 teams, SMU, Cal, Stanford, whomever, to the ACC, and you no longer have that possibility of.
It's just a lot of what ifs. Well, what if, a lot of hypothetical scenarios, a lot of
getting out with the help of ESPN or a negotiation with the ACC. I still don't think you're dead, right? Like, I think that it just becomes a lot more expensive than what it could have been. But I truly do believe right now there are negotiations happening to try and get Florida State out of this. I think everyone is aware of the fact that Florida State and Clemson are not long for this conference. When we had David Hood on from Clemson TigerNet, he told us he'd be surprised if they were in the conference in 3 years. I think I've put it at 2 at this point. I think
I rescind my previous. So now he is putting a date on it. He's saying that David Hood, who is a respectable guy who covers the Tigers, is saying he would be surprised if Clemson was still in the conference in 3 years. But this guy here, double fries and no slaw, says more like 2 years. So he is putting a date on it.
It's 2 years that they'll be there. I think it's going to be an incredibly expensive exit if you don't have anybody playing ball with you or working with you. But I also think that we all know which way this is trending. When writers like Brett McMurphy and others are writing about this as if it's already a foregone conclusion, I think the ACC has to do absolutely everything that they can to try and hold their conference together. The one thing I'll give the ACC credit on is they saw the failures of the Pac-12 and how the Pac-12 refused to add anyone after their major brands, USC and UCLA, left, and that put them into a dire situation afterward. And eventually their teams got picked off one by one by one by one. And now they're nothing. I think the ACC at least understands that they cannot let that.
Yeah. The comparison between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 teams that are leaving to join other conferences, they're not the same as the ACC. That's the issue. Those conferences, the Big 12 in particular, waited to the end of their TV deal, so they didn't have to have, hundreds of millions of dollars to get out. And the Pac-12 just didn't have TV deals. But the ACC does.
That happen if they want to continue their basketball conference. And so they're doing anything they can to try and add teams that, again, make no sense financially, geographically, competitively, make no sense at all. They're trying to add teams so they can avoid that composition clause. And I think ESPN favors where Florida State and Clemson stand a little bit more right now. Maybe they can get them on the cheap over to the SEC, and they can build that conference up. They can still have their cake and eat it too.
The other thing I don't understand, by the way, his theory is that the ESPN will benefit by Florida State and Clemson leaving and can help facilitate that financially and maybe get them on the cheap is the way he put it. But ESPN doesn't run the SEC. So ESPN is not making decisions on conference expansion for the SEC. The SEC is making those decisions.
Having the ACC on the side as well and making the money and the revenue and generating it.
Not that the SEC wouldn't want Florida State and Clemson, because I think that they would.
From there without the ACC dying. I do think ESPN would like the ACC to keep going. It's not going to keep going in the same form or fashion that it is right now, but maybe they can keep it going and make a little bit of money from that continuing to come in. Now, ESPN either plays with us and helps us out, or Florida State will go to the Big Ten, and they'll take the money from the rights of the away games that we play, and that'll be enough. It'll still make more than what we would make in the ACC. Do you want to know how we could forfeit all of our home game rights and still make more money than if we were in the Atlantic Coast Conference? We broke all that down, and you can click right here to check it out.
All right. Well, I will say this. I hope he's right. But I am not really that optimistic. I'm not as optimistic as he is. But I've made no secret about it. And now I've been saying this for a couple of years now. This is not I know it's the hot topic now with all the conference expansion going on around the country. But I've been saying I've been ready for Clemson to get out of the ACC for 2 or 3 years now. And now more than ever, because of what's happening in the Big Ten and in the SEC, and even the Big 12. So we'll see. If there's any weed gummy companies out there that want to sponsor the Pigskin Pete Midday Show, my email is in the description of the stream. Oh man! Welcome to the Midday Show.
That may be the dumbest take in the history of the internet. that entire video.
And yet,
be the most brain dead, dumbest take in the history of the internet.
Pretty retarded. I agree.
Even if ESP, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say the thing that was funny to me about it when it popped up on my feed yesterday is that, I would have expected that video to come out 4 weeks ago, whenever this was a hot topic, but this video was made yesterday. So.
Around the time this guy was born. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, even if ESPN had anything to do with it, no, it's not in ESPN's best interest for Clemson and Florida State to leave. Because guess what ESPN does have to deal with? 2 different channels and selling commercials on them. So why would they want to take, according to this guy, all the drawing power from one channel and put it on to another, but still have the expense of that second channel?
If that was the truth, though, wouldn't ESPN be trying to save the ACC instead of making us stay in this conference?
This is utter madness, guys.
Well, he did kind of say that. His whole point is that the reason that the ACC is looking to expand and not even caring who they get necessarily, in his words, it doesn't even make sense geographically. It doesn't make sense competitively for Cal and Stanford and SMU to join the ACC. It's just to keep the conference intact so that it doesn't dissolve after Florida State and Clemson leave.
Right, but it makes total sense for Florida State and Clemson to join the fucking Big Ten, though, right?
That's not ESPN.
I don't think geography matters anymore, but I don't think FSU and Clemson are leaving the ACC anytime soon.
No, I agree. It's going to be a couple years. It's going to be a couple years. And when that happens...
Try a minimum of a decade.
I don't think that's the case. A decade is way too long to sort of extrapolate anything out at all. I mean, things could change in a couple years.
They can, but I mean, once again, unless they find some magic way out of that contract.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that happening at some point, but it's going to take longer than tomorrow.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll be 2 more years, maybe 3 or 4. 2032 is not.
I don't hate Cal and Stanford. I don't hate that. If the ACC wants to go get Cal and Stanford, I don't hate that. I mean, what better are you going to get?
All right, I'll bite. Here's the problem. You're not going to get anything better than that. The issue is that Cal and Stanford don't help. It only serves to dilute the revenue pie even more so. Cal and Stanford don't bring any fans. They don't have any fans.
I thought they already agreed to take a lesser amount or whatever.
I think SMU agreed to take $0, which is I don't
$0 in Stanford and Cal.
Okay. How does SMU help us?
I do think. Now, I don't know why this applies to the Big 12 and not the ACC, because everybody's applauded the Big 12. But
because
there are a group of 5 teams that you could bring in that add value. I don't think anybody would dispute that.
Sure. I would say that every single team that the Big 12 has brought in over the last couple of years is much more valuable than Cal and Stanford.
Football-wise, yes. Well, I guess Cincinnati's a pretty good basketball program too, but
yeah.
Cincinnati, yes, but I mean,
Arizona and Arizona State are enormous schools.
I mean, it was smart.
I'm kind of on the fence about BYU.
BYU's got a huge fan base, man.
Yeah.
They got a whole fucking religion, dude.
Yeah, but they're not all BYU football fans.
A lot of them are.
You don't like them Mormon girls,
A lot of
Slim?
fans, dude.
I mean, I got nothing against Mormons. I'm just saying. They're more worried about waking me up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Well,
BYU's
and I'm not even going to go down the rabbit hole of that dumbass take of Miami's not a brand name and a big brand in the country. That's just fucking stupid.
Well, I think he said the opposite. I think he said as much as Florida State fans don't want to admit it, they are a big brand.
That's true.
Well, no, he's trying to say Clemson and Florida State are light years ahead of Miami.
Well, he said they were bigger, but he did say that, yeah.
He didn't say light years.
No, he didn't say light years. He did.
Yeah, I think Clemson and Florida State are maybe even more than marginally more valuable as programs than Miami right now.
Well, see, here's the thing. So it's a subjective word when you talk about brand, because I do believe that if you go, let's say you go overseas somewhere, I think probably the Miami Hurricanes are more recognizable to people who don't pay attention to college sports than Clemson is. So, I mean,
no one overseas gives a fuck about college football.
But,
and that's exactly what you're talking about with brand recognition.
Yeah, right. So, but now is Clemson worth more money now than Miami is? But maybe. But I don't know about the brand thing.
I don't think it's a huge gap, is my point.
No.
Can y'all explain? Are we really about to add SMU to this conference?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Actually, I don't think we are.
I mean, I made the argument they should go after a team like Memphis. I mean,
yeah, Memphis. I take Memphis over SMU.
Tulane.
When UCF was on their hot streak, Memphis was right there with them. I mean, those were back and forth games. Memphis was an equivalent program with UCF.
So Memphis would make sense. Tulane wouldn't be the worst.
What's the Memphis? Don't they have that FedEx money or UPS? What is it? Which one is it?
Yeah, FedEx.
They got that FedEx money, son.
Right there, and not to mention the CEO of FedEx, the guy that started it, Fred Smith. His son went to Miami and then transferred to Memphis, or the other way around.
I can think.
Transferred to Miami.
I can think of at least 3 or 4 teams that would be better, both for the ACC and a better fit for the ACC as well. And most of those are on the East Coast. I mean, you got Memphis. You've got, what about App State?
I
don't know about App State.
I think Tulane is a better option.
Teams from North Carolina in the conference.
I'd rather expand
East
to
Carolina.
different states than go in the same state. I would much rather that.
Why?
Well, here's where Cal and Stanford do make sense, because
the footprint shit is horseshit, dude.
What do you mean it's horseshit? That's what the SEC did. Look at that. Their entire history is them expanding to different states and expanding a footprint, and that's why they're so successful today.
Well, and True Seminole has a point. At the end of the day, that kind of is the point in it, is getting into TV markets you're not currently in.
And that's
I don't hate the Cal Stanford thing. I don't hate it at all.
Well, Kirby's Belt.
Try to talk to Oregon State or Washington State.
Kirby's Belt in the chat makes a good point.
SMU?
There's tiny schools. The App State is bigger. App State is bigger than like 4 or 5 of the schools in the ACC right now.
Sure.
Okay.
So
SMU's in Dallas. Your answer.
I wouldn't take App State though.
SMU is in the city of Dallas, so that's the answer to your question. But dude, I mean, okay, so the Big Ten added Rutgers to get into the New York market. How the fuck is that working out? Like, it doesn't. They don't give a shit about Rutgers.
Yeah, but how many brands in Texas do you have to get through to get to SMU? Before,
all the ones that the SEC already took.
How many do you have to get through?
All the ones that the SEC and the Big 12 already have. The SEC expanded their footprint.
Yeah, exactly. So stay away from Texas and get where you can get.
No, the SEC expanded their footprint into Texas because they got Texas and Texas A&M, not because they were trying to expand their footprint into Texas. It's because they got the 2 most fucking valuable programs in the country.
And one of the most highly recruited states in the country as well.
Sure, great. So then you're making the argument for getting SMU, I guess. I don't know.
No, I'm not making an argument for getting SMU. I'm saying that I would much rather get Memphis or a school in Louisiana where there's only one other true Power 5 team in it. Like
Tulane.
Louisiana, it's just LSU. There's too much talent in there for just one school.
Yeah.
Right. But this is dead weight. This is just...
Yeah, I agree. We have another person that joined the show. Let's see what their opinion on this is.
What's up?
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Well, my moniker should say it all. I've hated the ACC since 1981, and Swofford's committee tacked on the extra year of probation.
Yeah, yes.
Possibly some of you boys weren't even alive then.
I was not, but I do know what you're talking about.
I was barely alive.
I've been shouting at the top of my lungs for years, and then even in basketball, where we found out so many guys at UNC one time, the head coach had to threaten to go in and use up his eligibility. I've been done with this conference for decades. When the SEC originally expanded and focused on football, which was some 30, 40 years ago, they posted the nice middle finger to the NCAAs by saying, hey, we're going to have a championship game. And the NCAA was, oh, no, you can't. We'll take action. And the SEC said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
So, we're a natural geographic fit. When I was a student, we played Georgia every year.
Right.
And you know what? I thought Georgia was a big rivalry when I was a stupid-ass freshman because we didn't beat them every year like we beat South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, what the hell did I know? I was 18 years old, away from home for the first time, and you could drink beer. I'm so old. But from a financial standpoint, obviously the Slamdemic revealed that, football drives the bus, as Dabo Swinney would say. Right. And if anything good came out of that, which very little did, is that football still drives the bus. And I remember being a student saying, we're sticking with the ACC for basketball. And I know a bunch of my friends looked at each other cutting class on a Thursday down at Nix and said, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, Clemson has never been
a basketball team.
No, I mean, Clemson's never been a basketball school.
Here's the problem with that, though. That gap isn't as big as people make it out to be. I mean, if you look at the revenue the NCAA makes from March Madness, they may not be driving, but they're a side seat driver.
Yeah. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but
it's well over $1 billion.
Okay, but what is
why the hell did the ACC get so screwed? John Swofford, I fucking hate you.
Yeah, no, we can all agree that fuck John Swofford. We can all agree on that.
We've brought consensus to the panel.
We have.
It's a rarity.
Is there a way to make the ACC a true one of the three conferences that are going to be left? Because the Pac-12 we know is dead. Are there teams that can be added? Because you go back to how I do conferences is I go to my old copy of NCAA 2014 and I move schools around and go, yep, this is a conference I'd keep.
Right. So it wouldn't be 3, it's 4. The Big 12 has solidified their position at this point. They're not going anywhere in the near future.
I actually think it's going to stick with 5. If you look at what the Mountain West and the AAC is trying to do, they're making moves to try and basically take the Pac-12 spot.
The Hurricane just took my power. Yay.
Well, even if that happens, Slim, they still will be. If that happens, they'll be at the bottom of the Power 5. I mean, a bunch of Mountain West teams and the leftover teams from the Pac-12 isn't really that threatening of a conference.
And the ACC would be sucking hind tit as well. I mean,
the only way is to get Notre Dame. You have to force Notre Dame in.
Yes. Oh, that's a must. If the ACC can't force Notre Dame in for football, this is over.
Well, how would they go about? How do you do that?
I don't know.
You can't. I mean, they had a chance to do it in 2020 and they whiffed.
What they have to do is get with ESPN and put the numbers together on what it would be to add Notre Dame to the conference and basically show everybody what I'm already assuming is right, that I don't give a shit what TV deal they get from NBC. It wouldn't be comparable.
I think that's the answer, Slim. Yes. I think the answer is that the TV deals in conferences are going to start to really outdo Notre Dame's NBC deal, and I think that's the way.
What we were talking about this a few months ago, the new ACC schedule only to go to 26. Is that the year we're looking at? That possibly?
Yes.
Well, no, they can add teams before them.
No, I'm talking about Notre Dame. Just the big fish right now.
Yeah, the ACC needs to get Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
Oh God, I can't wait to not have to fucking talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
dude, you're telling me the Orange.
Well, it's gonna be talked about. It's gonna be talked about until something happens, because I don't think a lot of these fans are gonna let it go. The media is certainly not gonna let it go.
Yeah.
The playoff committee can also force Notre Dame's hand because.
Yeah, they won't though.
Here's the thing. Actually, they already kind of are, because what Notre Dame is going to see value in having a bye and a 12-team playoff that they're completely ineligible for, because they want to be Little Miss Independent.
Not only that, I want them not to have a home game. I do not want to reward not playing in a conference by having your first game be your extra home game. Like Swarbuck always talks about, well, we'll play a 13th game. Screw that. I don't want them ranked any higher than 9th.
Well, and also here's the other thing: we haven't seen. They're supposed to reconvene, with the new developments with what's happening in the Pac-12. They might change the format of the seeding and all of that in the playoff. There's a couple of different proposals on the table. One of them is just having the top 12 teams in the final ranking, which would allow Notre Dame to possibly have a home game if they do that.
No.
Yeah, but they wouldn't get that bye that a conference champion's going to get.
Yeah, no. You need to do that to make Notre Dame join a conference. Yeah.
It's going to depend on what they do. I forget what the other one was. Basically, it wouldn't be the conference champion wouldn't be an automatic bid in this new proposal.
Well,
I'm talking about what we have to work with right now. I mean, you're talking 27 before a new, it wouldn't be 27, it'd be 26 before a new contract takes effect for the playoffs.
Yeah, I thought the goal was to make Notre Dame join a conference.
It very well could be that. That's the only route the ACC has to survive and keep Florida State and Clemson.
Well, and there's even been people that have thrown it out there that the committee has at least floated the idea around about telling Notre Dame to join a conference so you're not eligible for the playoffs.
That's not happening.
That's not going to happen. Here's the issue, guys, and we all know this, all right? The issue is that if we continue down this road, we're going to get less and less money by more and more significant amounts each year, which may not degrade programs like Florida State and Clemson immediately, but it's going to hurt the conference as a whole. It's going to hurt recruiting. It's going to hurt performance on the field. It's going to hurt in interconference matchups, rather, and it's going to hurt in bowl games because the teams aren't going to be as good, and we're just going to keep sliding and sliding and sliding and sliding, which is the real reason why we got to get the fuck out.
That's not actually the case, though, Volusia.
I disagree.
I disagree too.
You can disagree all you want, but the SEC's contract isn't up till 2030.
And they're going to be making twice what we make at that point.
Well, yes, but you see that in sports contracts all the time.
Right, but it's not a good place to be.
People just want to completely ignore the point that whoever signs the most recent contract, 9 times out of 10 has got the highest dollar amount.
Right. Now, the issue is we don't get to renegotiate our contract for a long time.
Only a few years after the SEC.
That's it, man. That's all we can do is if you want the ACC to survive, want the ACC to be one of the top 3, you got to get Notre Dame. And that's we got to
get more money, dude. That's it. Otherwise, this is not going to last.
I see your
Notre Dame bring more money.
Keep doing this. There's no way.
Does Notre Dame bring more money? No, Notre Dame will allow it to be restructured. The contract will be restructured.
Which then brings more money. Yes.
Yes.
No problems.
For the SEC right now, it's more money, more championships, and that's what everybody else is looking at.
That's right.
That's a problem. Look, I've hated the SEC for many years.
We've covered that.
But yeah, but
I mean, it is.
how
though,
many
dude.
ACC teams have won a national championship compared to how many SEC teams have won a national championship in the last few years? Shit, throw the Big Ten in there too.
Right. Now, well, here's
Multiple
the
SEC
issue.
Well, I mean, if you want to look at the last decade, it's the ACC and the SEC with the most national titles.
That's
yeah,
true.
well, two
SEC
ACC
far and
schools
away
and
ahead.
what,
The
three?
issue is
SEC?
SEC for the most.
right. The issue is that if we don't start, if we don't figure out a way to get more annual revenue, the Big Ten is going to catch up to and lap the ACC in the next decade.
But once
Shit, the
again,
Big
that's
12 may
just
even
not
catch
the
up to us.
case. Because you're once again, you're assuming it's all based off of money, and we have now covered this. It seems like for the 10,000th time. If
Yeah,
it is all about money, Texas and Texas A&M win every national title forevermore.
Right. It's not all about money, but money talks, and it's a big part
But
of
you're
it.
making,
especially
but it
for
is a part
now.
of it. But you're making it all about money.
Right.
Right,
because
but
it's
let's
more
just
and
look
more
at
a
this, too.
factor now. It's a bigger and bigger factor, and also the gaps are wider and wider as well.
You talk bullshit was.
I don't think we're seeing the full effects of it yet. NIL is
That's right.
still recent, still very recent. The
The
more
effects
and
are
more
how
this
much-
recruiting class
Well, hang
comes, the
on.
next few years, that's all recruits are going to start caring about.
But how much money the schools bring in on a TV contract has zero to do with NIL. And if it does, let the NCAA infractions committee know. Maybe they'll actually decide to do their job.
They will not. Okay.
Well, I don't have a whole lot of faith they're going to do it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that seems unlikely. Yeah.
Look, Clemson in particular, and Florida State, we're in an advantageous position. Clemson in particular, with our results on the field in recent years, and we need to take advantage of that and get the hell out. Listen, I've hated the SEC for a really long time. I never wanted to leave. I definitely don't want to go to the Big Ten. I don't want to have to go on road trips to Northwestern and fucking Rutgers and Washington and shit instead of going to Georgia Tech and Florida and wherever, right? North Carolina, right? But at the end of the day, if that's what it takes to be competitive, that's what we're going to have to do because college football is going all fucky at this point.
Right. Well, I don't want y'all to go to the Big Ten. I want y'all to come to the SEC.
Yeah, that's
I
what
want you guys to come here.
I would prefer that too.
I would prefer that too, but I'd take the Big Ten. Anything's better than the ACC at this point.
I would prefer college football not be a carbon copy of the NFL.
I agree
Me
with
too,
that.
but right now we're looking for the better of our own programs. And it's better for FSU to get out of the ACC and go to either the Big Ten or SEC.
Well, unfortunately, that's not an option for them, though.
Not yet. But in 10 years or maybe 5 years, whatever the amount of time, they can't keep FSU and Clemson and all these schools forever.
No,
they can keep them through 2036, though, and
I
that's a
don't think they
long
can.
time for things to change.
I don't think they can.
They could.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go all the way till 2036.
Move to the Big Ten. Because the Gamecocks are not.
Are we losing them or is that
Time
me?
Warner back in the 90s.
Jay Shipe says, just play football and finish your contract that you signed. Yeah, because everybody honors contracts, Jay.
Right.
Yeah, if that
My question
happened,
is it possible that we're looking at the first perfect contract ever written? Because contracts are meant to be broken.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I think that you have to make the SEC, the ACC, want to kick your team out. Yeah.
Well,
you want to make the ACC want to dissolve the
And that
contract.
was Huffer Billy Paul's plan, was to just have Clemson shut down the athletic department until the ACC basically kicks them out.
that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, that's insane.
Hey, that's Clemson fans. I'm just repeating what I hear.
That would destroy Clemson.
fans are a special breed, Slim. We got to forgive them sometimes.
Now, I don't think it's a perfect contract, but I do agree with the point that was made that the shorter and less words there are in a contract, the harder it is to get out of it. Because that's how you find loopholes, is the longer a contract is and the more wording there is in it, you can find ways around shit.
Adam Dowling in the chat makes a very good point, by the way. He says, how do you expect Notre Dame to join the ACC if all you guys want out of the ACC?
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, I mean, but
Yeah.
it's weird though that with the new teams wanted to add, why is Notre Dame wanting them to join? That's the weird thing to me.
Yeah, so are you saying
That's why I made the suggestion that I did, that the head of the ACC needs to get together and crunch some numbers with ESPN and go to Notre Dame. And like we see all the time in the news, you'll see those opinion polls flip quicker than an assassination will do it.
Right.
Who is it that Notre Dame's in contract with?
NBC.
Aren't they going for the NBA? Whatever happened with that?
Yeah, they need to bring
NBC, like Peacock
NBA
is
on
NBC, and they've signed a contract with Big Ten.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, the NBA on NBC, Vic, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so I see one comment I agree with from Charleston Frat Boy saying college football is beginning to suck. Too much bullshit. Couldn't agree more. And then one comment from Baylor, man, I totally disagree with, where he says the National Football League sucks as a product. Dude, the National Football League is an amazing product, and that's why it's the most profitable league in the world. So
and that's why the Bengals will sit back and watch Jacksonville in the playoffs.
Listen, I hope that we play Jacksonville in the AFC Championship game. That would be amazing.
I'd rather play y'all than KC again.
I've already made this point for the NFL, and guys will either choose to follow it or not. But Tom Brady kind of laid out the blueprint on how to be successful in the NFL, and you can kind of translate that to college as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and at some point, I understand all everybody's looking at is the numbers on these contracts, but that's a finite resource. At some point, they're going to end up maxing out what they're able to pay out on these contracts, especially when you start gobbling up 25, 30, 35 teams a conference.
Well, that's different than what Tom Brady did. That's, college football doesn't have contracts like that. You're talking about TV contracts as opposed to a salary cap.
No, I'm talking about sometimes you need to look beyond just yourself if you want to be successful.
You must look beyond. Yeah, you must look beyond what you see.
Oh God, we're getting philosophical.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going philosophical with it. I mean, I was just pointing out a straight fact that
You must look beyond what you
if you
see.
spend all your time looking at yourself in the mirror, you lose sight of the big picture. And that's why teams like the Packers and Aaron Rodgers have never done shit, because, he wants his 40, 50 million a year. I'm tired of hearing you crying about they won't build a team around you when they ain't got the money to do it.
I don't know if you saw what Bill Belichick said the other day. He named Tampa Bay in particular. He said they're in a bad spot right now because of all those big contracts they paid out when Brady was there.
There you go.
They didn't pay out a bunch of big contracts. Guys came back on discounts.
I'm just telling you what he said. He named them in particular.
Well, you know what? I can name Bill Belichick as a sub-500 coach without Tom Brady, because that's what he is. But that's the greatest NFL coach ever. Yeah. He's also proven himself to be a fucking terrible general manager, despite what Bill Belichick thinks.
I don't know. My only hope is I don't really want to leave the ACC. I really don't, but they got to get Notre Dame if they want anything to happen.
Why don't you want to leave?
I loved being in the conference. I love the teams we played, but I mean, when I'm looking at it now, I just want to see what's best for FSU. Of course, I want to leave. It'd be nonsensical to stay here.
I too enjoy being in the ACC. When I was a student at Clemson, I went to just about every stadium in the conference on road trips. I'm prefer to do that rather than going to fucking, Minnesota and places like that if we join the Big Ten. Now, if we join the SEC, I'd be fine with that. But I really, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be great to, go to Georgia, go to Auburn, go to Alabama, go to LSU, Florida.
Sure. Yeah, but I just felt like the ACC had its own little charisma. I just like the ACC. It was fun being a part of the conference. Well, we still are, but
I'm not even looking at necessarily the ACC with my opinion on this. I'm looking at college football as a whole. I think it's bad to get down to just 2 or 3 conferences. And I think the push is towards 2, not 3.
Yeah. You're a traditionalist in the sport, but like Rick just said a few minutes ago in the chat, that college football is always evolving. This is nothing new. This is just the latest evolvement that's happened. But
well, they've had super conferences before, haven't they?
I don't think so.
I thought I heard something about they had them before, then they broke up.
When?
I mean, at one time you had like 19 conferences in the country, but
yeah, you used to have more conferences.
And you had a whole lot more independents as well.
Yes, there were a lot of independent
conferences. You used to have smaller conferences. You used to have conferences with 8 teams or 6 teams or
I don't know. I just wish so bad I could just rewind time and just go back the way it was.
True Seminole, are you in Florida right now?
Yes, sir, I am.
What part?
Lakes, McClenny, around Jacksonville. So, it's just barely kissing us.
Yeah, you're not getting hit that hard then.
No. No, I did lose power, though, which was weird, but it's whatever.
When was that?
Like, right now, I don't have power right now.
Oh.
He said that about 10, 20 minutes ago.
Oh, so you're just sitting in the dark on the midday show?
I'm sitting in the dark all alone talking to 5 other men.
He's on the midday show
in a monkey onesie that my wife bought me.
Are you on your phone? Does your wireless go out? Are you on your phone? Or
yeah, I'm on my phone, yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh. So you have no power, but you have a cell phone signal. That's impressive.
Who's your cell phone and sitting in a onesie?
How does that work?
Yeah, who's your carrier? Give him a shout out.
Who's my carrier? Oh, Straight Talk. So Verizon.
Oh wow, all right.
Yeah.
Does the onesie have feet in it too? Like the onesie has like little socks with the toes in it?
No, it
the
doesn't.
footies.
That's the only bad thing. I gotta wear socks.
I did check on Celine about half hour ago. They're all right.
That's good.
What about Tiger Cat?
I have not gotten a hold of her yet.
She works at the weed store. Does the weed store shut down for hurricanes, or do they stay open?
I know the
I'm not sure if they've noted. It's a weed store. Half of them in there probably don't even notice there's a hurricane.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That's the one thing people need, man. If the power's out and I'm sitting on a candle and I don't have internet, Jesus, that's the one thing I definitely.
Yeah, they need weed. Yeah.
That's an essential worker right there.
Oh yeah, I got my deltas already and my weed. I'm ready.
Yeah, so Pete, maybe you should try to get TK's weed store to sponsor the midday show.
Hey.
Yeah, like what was it? Double Fries had the
Double fries.
Yep.
That was funny.
It was. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of embarrassed watching that guy. I've seen that guy a couple times, but it's just. I hate that us Florida State fans are broadcasting our stupidity.
When your source is a post on a message board from On3, come on, dude.
Well,
it's embarrassing.
In his defense, he did say that he had David Hood on his show, and David Hood said 3 years.
Yeah, he's a Clemson guy. David Hood,
Who's David Hood?
I think he's a Clemson guy.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he covers Clemson.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? There were like 5 quote unquote insiders that said Tyler Van Dyke broke his thumb in practice like 3 or 4 days ago. Guess what didn't happen?
Tyler Van Dyke breaking his thumb?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it right. Hell yeah.
Well, I talked about
these quote unquote trusted sources.
So he did not break his thumb. Okay.
I posted that. I talked about that tweet that I saw the other day. Clemson guy. This is on TigerNet, which is useless, but about how he's got a buddy who has inside information that Clemson's announcing in 4 weeks that they're leaving the ACC.
I'm glad to know that the FSU is not the only one.
I'm sorry, but this whole realignment shit is making Miami fans seem smarter by the day.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Yeah, I agree.
We-
So this
we've
is the
hit
dumbest
that
fucking
point.
shit ever, dude. I hate this shit so much. It's so fucking.
Why does it make y'all look smart?
Well, they've done a pretty good job of making themselves look dumb, but by that video Pete just played, they're getting dumber.
He just means by comparison. The overall IQ is sinking. Is
Miami's getting smart by keeping their mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way,
No, it's a first, isn't it? They finally learned. Took them long.
by the way,
You know what, Jim Cornette said it best. You move up the ladder. What did he say? He's like, somebody told him, I used to think you were a dumb fuck, but so many dumb fucks have come along that you've moved up the ladder without doing anything.
Yeah.
Clemson's
better to be thought of as a fool than open.
Clemson's been pretty quiet on the front too. If there is any negotiations or exit strategy for Clemson, they're keeping it under wraps. They haven't said anything about it.
And I think Miami, and I agree with his point. I think Miami's probably in the same boat. They're just keeping their fucking mouths shut about it.
Right.
It is weird
Clemson's
because
not saying much. FSU's the one that's running their mouth.
it is because
I
you
used to think it was because FSU was trying to force the ACC into doing something, but now the ACC tries to do something, FSU blocks them. So
I think
don't know.
FSU is mainlining copium right now, dude.
Yeah,
A lot of copium.
we're on some some
I
good
can't
shit.
remember. It was on somebody's show. I don't remember whose it was on. I think it was on one of Roosters. And now, granted, this guy was a Georgia grad, but he lives in South Georgia, so he's dealt with Florida State for many years. And I agree with a point he made that, okay, I can kind of see Florida State's overall point with the money, but how about you show just a little bit of gratefulness towards the ACC, because Florida State didn't win a fucking thing nationally until they joined the ACC.
Yeah, well, yeah.
and there's the conspiracy theory. You remember when what's his name? The head coach of Florida State. I'm having a brain fart now.
Bobby Bowden.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden. He was the coach there when that transition happened in the ACC, and that the conspiracy theory was that the reason he didn't want to join the SEC is because he knew that he could win titles in the ACC.
There we go.
That is not true, because the other time Bobby Bowden went in, Florida blocked us.
Well, I don't doubt that Bobby Bowden had some pull, but I think the final say on that kind of decision is above Bobby Bowden's head.
Also true.
Yeah, he certainly would have an influence on it, though. And I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's the theory.
Well, Bobby Bowden had an influence on the entire athletic department.
Yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't have any pull, but what I'm saying is that the final say-so of that is going to come from above his head.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah, no, I just, dude, true. I just poured myself a nice 4-finger gin and tonic to continue.
Oh, great. Went and bought me 153 diesel.
So conspiracy theory for me here is
it is amazing.
South Carolina blocked Clemson from joining the SEC? Because I've heard that for decades.
No. So South Carolina would be the only nay votes. If the SEC were to vote on Clemson joining,
No,
South Carolina
he's talking about back when Clemson had an opportunity.
What I've heard from SEC fans is only the original SEC members have that kind of vote. Like
I heard
Texas
that
A&M
a bunch of
could
SEC
not block
schools get
Texas.
together and they form these packs to keep their rivals out.
Right, but listen, if Texas on the Texas joining the SEC thing, I'm sure Texas A&M voted against it, and everyone else voted for it. Why? It's fucking Texas.
Yeah, there has to be a certain percentage. I don't know what the number is. Every conference is different.
I'm sure that every SEC school outside of South Carolina would like to have Clemson in the conference.
Well, like I said, this is just what I've heard from people that are fans of SEC teams and fly the SEC flag. That there actually is that thing, like Florida being a founding member of the SEC. Their single vote can keep out Florida State or Miami.
Right. Well, South Carolina is not a founding member.
There was like packs, like these schools formed packs together to keep. That's what I heard, at least. I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm not saying it's true. This is just what I've heard from fans of SEC teams.
Well, if I'm South Carolina, I definitely do not want Clemson in the same conference.
It's the only thing that keeps South Carolina like neck level.
Well, it hurts them in a lot of ways.
Brand.
It definitely hurts them, and they already recruit against each other, and that would be advantageous for Clemson if they were in the same conference.
It's literally the only recruiting advantage at all that they have.
Right.
I think there's much more recruiting battles going on between Clemson and Georgia than there are Clemson and South Carolina.
True, but being in the same state, we do fight for a lot of the same recruits.
I don't know. Last year,
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
About taking a 3-star linebacker from Clemson.
But that's the thing. They're normally fighting for in-state recruits, and I'm not knocking South Carolina, but they're not a top 5 state producing high school.
No, but if you look at some of the recruiting battles that Clemson has won, and just in recent years, some of the biggest players to come through. I mean, on these national championship teams were South Carolina guys.
Right. Hey, look, again, the only advantage that they have in recruiting over us is the fact that they're in the SEC, and they use that and they wield it, right? But if we popped up in the SEC in a couple of years, they would not win a recruiting battle against us, except for a guy that would start for them and be a third stringer for us.
I feel the same way about FSU. Fuck Florida.
I don't really, and Miami's kind of proven this twice in recent years. I don't think there's some big recruiting advantage to being in the SEC. Mark Richt won 10 games with a half a football team and easily managed a top 10 class. Mario Cristobal went 5-7 and managed a top 10 class.
Sure.
What are you talking about, Miami? Yeah, of course. Yes. Like the bigger brands, of course. Like Texas wasn't just losing recruits because they weren't in the SEC.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say Texas hasn't recruited outside of the top 5, really, for the most part, through this whole stretch that they've been bad.
But across the
Vanderbilt and Kentucky
across the board recruit at a
and Vanderbilt and Kentucky don't rack up the 5 stars because they're in the SEC. Yeah, we understand that, but overall, it does help.
Sure. And right now, Clemson recruits nationally more than South Carolina does. And so if you close the gap on the in-state, Huffer Billy Paul made a great point. Yeah, South Carolina in the past 2 years, I believe, the past 2 recruiting cycles has won more of those in-state battles than Clemson has. But if Clemson were in the SEC, they take that advantage over, and then they already recruit nationally, it would be devastating for them.
Yeah, but it's not like even winning those recruiting battles over the past couple of years, it's not like South Carolina is in Clemson's league as far as talent on the team is concerned.
True.
No, they're getting better, though. I'll give the credit where the credit's due. They are getting better.
Well, yes, I mean, they're better than they were in the Will Muschamp years, but that's down pretty damn bad. It's hard to get much worse than that.
Well, I mean, they are strangely recruiting the D.C. area really well lately, which is weird and disconcerting, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, look, I think obviously them using the transfer portal is going to be an advantage, but that's a whole different can of worms.
Well, the reason they're recruiting D.C. well is because of Shane Beamer's ties to the state of Virginia.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it.
And honestly, this whole recruiting thing, we're talking about these in-state battles.
We've lost you, bro.
Uh-oh. The hurricane got him.
He was 50 feet away from his phone.
Take the phone out of your footy pajamas.
Oh, shit. I'll be back. Hold on.
No, now you sound good.
Oh. All right.
It was like you walked away from your phone or something.
Oh, okay. The main reason I was saying about the expansion, though, like we talk about these in-state recruiting battles between Clemson and South Carolina and stuff. If you got in some of these states another Power 5 option, I do think you'd see more of those recruiting battles with other states as well. That's why that was my whole point in like expanding ACC's footprint in terms of football.
Yeah, there just aren't any really good options for doing that.
No, there's not, sadly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the teams in the ACC.
But there's better options than
like, for instance, Clemson's already recruiting the state. We got a lot of players from California recently. But, we're not recruiting the guys that are going to go to Cal or Stanford anyway, so that doesn't even really matter.
No, dude, Cal and Stanford can't fill up their own fucking 40,000 seat stadiums. No one gives a fuck about Cal and Stanford.
Hey, speak for yourself. We're recruiting California boys.
Right, but it's not because of, dude, Cal and Stanford will not bring San Francisco prospects flooding into the fucking ACC.
No,
Listen,
no, it's not.
and I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole with this at all. I'm going to leave it at football, but I mean, Cal is UC Berkeley. Football is the last fucking thing on their minds around there.
Same for Stanford, dude. Same for Stanford. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, they don't.
But Slim, what about Marshawn Lynch?
Yes, and Aaron Rodgers and Keenan Allen. You know, yeah, they had an era, but like, dude,
I know. No, I agree. Clemson used to be in the SEC. No, they didn't.
Like, everybody's praising the UCLA pickup by the Big Ten. The UCLA hasn't been a consistent top 25 team in over 20 years.
USC is obviously the bigger pickup.
All right, guys. I'll see you later. I'm going to go fight the hurricane. I got my gun ready.
All
right, get a nuke. Get a tactical nuke there.
Be safe out there.
Like Matthew all over again.
All right, bro. Stay safe, dude.
Yeah.
Well, and I get USC's a brand, but, I mean, you look at USC historically, you've got the 70s and the Pete Carroll era. That's about it for USC.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're going to be good again. USC is still a huge brand. They're a top 10 program all time. Like, I'm not going to poo-poo on USC's success, so to speak. But
Poo-poo on USC, yeah.
poo-poo.
I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo on them, but, I mean, it is what it is.
I agree, but I mean, you're a Miami fan, so that you're exposed.
I mean, that 25 year, maybe pushing 30-year stretch from the late 70s through the mid 2000s, that's really it for Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll call them what they are.
Yeah. I mean, Clemson had the 40s, the 80s, and the last dozen in the Dabo era, right?
Kirby's Belt says he does not want Clemson in the SEC.
Why not?
Scared.
Why not?
Scared.
Well, he's saying because he thinks Clemson's recruiting would get better.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, we're
scared.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm not scared. Well,
Why not?
Clemson. Well, I'm not scared of Clemson. So.
No, I don't think a Georgia fan should be. I think Georgia of all teams, of all programs, would welcome Clemson in.
Yeah. What, like
the all-time record?
43, 18, and
that's not what I meant. I think that Georgia and Clemson is a game that people enjoy. I think both fan bases enjoy it. We're close together. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Clemson's closer to Athens than they are to Columbia, or about the same distance, but a little bit closer, I think.
We're closer to Athens than we are to Columbia or Atlanta.
Make that a week 0 game, and I'll guarantee you win the ratings battle.
No, I want to make that a week fucking 10 game or a week 4 game or something. I hate week 0, dude. I don't like playing big games in week 0 and week 1. Like, come on. We should get above that.
I don't mind a week 0 game. Like, I'm on the record. I hope next year they put Miami and Florida in week 0 like they did back in 2019.
Well, from a viewer standpoint, you want to see good games every week. So, yeah, but you don't necessarily want your team to be the one that's playing in it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like the Clemson Georgia week 1 games, no. And by the way, I want to point out, and in my group over here, I refer to NC State as rinky dink because I think to me the term rinky dink is just sort of embodies and epitomizes what NC State is as a program. So have you seen what NC State's week 1 game is?
Yeah, yes, UConn.
Yeah.
They're at
UConn.
Imagine playing a program like any one of our programs, playing their week 1 game at UConn. How fucking sad is that?
Virginia Tech played at Old Dominion last year.
Yeah.
Yes, well, Virginia has it's like playing a series with Old Dominion. So yeah. Like playing like a 10-year series or something like that.
Right. So I'll be looking forward to Georgia's game at Southern.
Apparently Old Dominion is a rival.
Going to Rutgers this year.
Yeah, Miami does that shit. Y'all went to App State and Arkansas State and shit.
Not Rutgers, but Temple. No, we didn't go to Arkansas State.
You were supposed to, but I think COVID or a hurricane fucked it up.
It was
Yeah, it was a hurricane. I had tickets to that game.
It was a hurricane.
Which would have been a cool road trip, but
even though
dude,
they canceled it, even though it was a road game. So
yeah.
I'll be hypocritical on that for selfish reasons because I do tend to agree with you. But it was a game an hour and a half for me, so I don't give a shit.
Oh no, and it would have been a cool, interesting road trip and all of that. But at the same time,
cool.
if you're a big time program, you don't want to be playing road games at Sun Belt teams, man.
I mean, that's part of. I mean, besides the reasons I gave, like I think Memphis could be a legitimate Group of 5 program to add in.
Sure.
I mean, there's a definite selfish component there that, Memphis is 45 minutes down the road from me.
I think I'd rather add, Memphis than SMU.
Yeah, well, they're definitely closer to a Power 5 type program than SMU is, for sure.
Is better.
Well, I mean, and that even, it went from Justin Fuente to Mike Norvell. They kind of kept that program rolling, so I'll give them their credit there.
When I hear Old Dominion, I think of the trucking line.
Yeah.
Me too.
Is it a trucking school up there?
I don't know. I guess so. You get your CDL at Old Dominion. I don't know.
That's right.
No, but it's actually a really good company to work for. For everything I've heard, they pay real well.
They advertise a lot.
Yeah.
I got an application in with them and UPS. They settled that UPS strike. I'll take some of that deal. They're paying
man.
$70,000 a year.
Well, Scott lives in the same town as me. Scott, what's your weather report on your side of Summerville, South Carolina?
A little gusty here and there. Some heavy rains have just approached us.
Yeah,
and that's just about it. I've not seen anything drastic so far yet, but no power outage. That's a big thing for me, Pete. Is losing our power, and we normally always do, even with a small thunderstorm. So we shall see.
Yeah, it's rain.
I've been having that problem ever since the tornadoes hit. I've been having that problem. About every thunderstorm that comes through, the power goes out.
Yeah.
Well, fucking hell, Scott, I didn't know you lived in Somerville, or else I would have shouted you to come out with me and Pete when I was there in June. Shit.
Yeah, we discussed that once before.
Yeah, it's
Pete,
right.
How's it in your area in the neck of the woods?
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Actually, normally in Shanghai in August, it's brutally hot and humid. It's like a concrete jungle of skyscrapers, and so the heat, it kind of traps the heat, and it's a humid climate to begin with. Last year, around this time, we were hitting temperatures of like 105, 110, plus huge humidity. It was getting what do you call it? The heat index was getting up into the 120s. But today, the last couple of days, has been raining like hell, and it's actually kind of chilly right now, which is welcome. Really nice.
Yeah. Pete, how about you? I mean, what's the weather over there?
You know what? I don't know. Before I started the show, it just started raining a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah. It's cool. It's 75. Heavy rain is what it's showing.
So what is the Hurricanes track right now? I mean, I haven't talked to my dad who's in Daytona, but I know that it's obviously on the Panhandle right now. Is it meant to go up into sort of Alabama, or is it?
No, it's supposed to come right through here.
Yeah, it's going to go in. No, it's going to go into southern Georgia and then the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Then on that.
Go east. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's raining here too. It's a light rain, but yeah.
It's sunny and 77 in southern Illinois.
Well, good to know that.
When I cross the state line in Indiana, I'll update you.
Where you at now, Slim?
Yeah, let us know if there's any hurricane conditions up there.
Okay, you're in southern Illinois right now.
Not even a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
Drive by Notre Dame's campus and take a picture with that giant Jesus.
Yeah, do that.
Screw that noise.
If the hurricane comes, just shoot it with your gun, dude. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm just being a prick, man. Come on, allow me to do that.
Yeah, allow him to do that.
Actually, I can in Illinois. I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, so why can't we just build like a giant fan to blow hurricanes away?
Right.
Well, I mean, if all
That's kind of an ingenious idea there.
Giant fan.
If all the big tube conspiracies are to be believed, the government's controlling the weather.
Yeah.
So they're the ones making all these.
Yeah, the HARP machine is the one making the hurricanes. Didn't you know that, Vic?
Oh yeah, and all the damn climate change. You know,
Didn't have hurricanes before that the HARP machine was created.
Yep. It's Jewish space lasers. Oh, did you guys see that the ocean temperatures off of Florida hit 101 degrees recently?
Yeah, actually, when I was down in the Keys a few weeks ago, when we went on our little snorkeling outing, the guy who runs the snorkeling tour took us out to this. It's like a sanctuary. It's this old, like 300-year-old lighthouse that's out there a couple of miles off the coast, and there's a coral reef around it. Right? He said that the water temperatures were up over 95 degrees for 3 weeks straight, and if that continued for another 2 weeks, then the coral would start dying.
Oh yeah.
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 101 temperature. I mean, it's like bath water.
Yeah,
it's like a fucking jacuzzi, dude.
It's getting too hot. Yeah.
Vic, what do you think about the rumor that people are saying that Georgia's only going, their record's going to be 7-5?
What? Who said that?
I want some of what they're smoking.
Who said that?
There's a number of them out there saying that Georgia's record, or that Kirby had said something like that, or maybe our record will be 7-5. And he said, I never said anything like that. Yeah. I would never say anything like that.
I'm sure you can find 3 people in a trailer park somewhere that said that.
Right.
I was going to say, that shit seriously.
If somebody said that, you definitely don't want whatever the fuck they're smoking.
Yeah, we can maybe find
part of that.
But it's clickbait shit. It's clickbait.
Park in Tennessee that said that.
I mean, could I see a scenario where Georgia loses a game during the regular season and then loses the SEC championship game? Yeah, I can see that happening.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it too, but, all indications show that Georgia could run right through their season. But I saw that yesterday and said, I know it's clickbait shit, but let me read it. And it was something that someone said that Kirby had said that, we might just go 7-5. And he said, I said nothing like that. He said, I would never say anything like that.
Well, even if he did say something like that, it would clearly be in jest.
It would, of course, it'd be in jest.
SEC media days, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Even if I were a Georgia fan, I wouldn't have a problem with him saying that. He's just trying to bring his team back down to earth. The whole
some people are saying that we're going to go 7-5. Yeah.
Well,
I also think that the Georgia fans running around hollering that another 15-0 season with a national title is written in stone are just as dumb.
Agree. Look, Carson Beck might not be good, man. You don't know.
We'll know soon enough. We'll know soon enough. Yeah.
Well, I guarantee if Georgia goes 7-5, there's going to be some TVs broken somewhere down near the Augusta area.
I mean, don't get me wrong. For trolling purposes on the internet, it'd be fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, I miss the days of Lou breaking TVs, man. That was fun.
He'd probably also garner another 40,000 subscribers just for the UTV.
Fucking hell, that's the reason I'm here. I mean, that was the first video of his I ever watched way back when. Shit.
It was the Vanderbilt video.
Yeah. And then the Tennessee double Hail Mary one was funny too.
Yeah, I won't be breaking any TVs anytime soon. I caught hell for breaking my headphones last year.
Yeah, I'm about to say, PigskinPeete doesn't break TVs. He breaks headphones.
Yeah.
The headphones aren't even his. He breaks his kids' headphones.
He broke headphones. He broke Peete.
Welcome, everybody.
I just got knocked out of the stream.
He's back.
Shut up now.
Yeah, I got knocked out.
Forgot what we were saying.
Something about
Lucia, that's a great quote from Bill O'Reilly.
Isn't it? It's one of my favorites.
Fuck it, let's do it live.
Let's do it live, dude.
If any of you have never seen that, it's Bill O'Reilly edition or week edition show, and he's supposed to do some teaser at the end of the show, and he's going, well, I can't say this, I can't do this, and then he just went, fuck it, let's just do it live. I mean, he went nuts.
It's funny as fuck. It's really classic.
Yeah, the weather did just take a turn for the worst here. I can hear it. Now.
Yeah. They had a tornado warning near Ravenel already.
We got one here. I got a notification on my phone about 30 minutes ago.
Tornado?
Yeah.
Tornado warning or warning. I don't know. Warning or watch or whatever it is.
Warning is when a tornado is spotted.
Yeah.
Watch is that conditions are favorable for tornadoes. They said it's not near Somerville. And what I just heard on Channel 5, but they did show a spot in Ravenel to watch out for. But that was almost 30 minutes ago.
Well, if things get bad enough, Pete Cantori might have to investigate.
Yeah, dude, no, Pete, I was saying you got to do the video where you're out there like struggling to walk and being dramatic, and then like an elderly couple just walks behind you and just start, like, strolling to walk the dog and shit.
They thought Pete was a retard.
Yeah.
Yeah, out there on a motorcycle helmet.
He's got on the.
Listen, that would be the least embarrassing thing that he's done on the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that would be, my neighbors would think the same thing, if I went out there with my helmet on. In fact, I would like to do that maybe, just to get them to talk about me.
Well, it was pretty embarrassing. I went out and shot that video. That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 So I come back in the house, I got the windbreaker on, the helmet, the whole thing. And my wife's standing there when I walk in, just shaking her head. Yeah.
Well, dude, I would have, that tornado that came through in March, I would have got a selfie with it if my wife hadn't been yelling at me.
Like, no.
What, you were out there in the weather when the tornado was coming?
Well, at that point, we hadn't seen it. I had heard the tornado siren, fire up and then go off. And my wife had stepped outside just to take a look at things, and she's like, it sounds like a train off in the distance. So I stopped what I was doing, and I lit up a cigarette and walked outside. And
Oh, Slim to break it up. Slim's one of those people, he sees a tornado, he walks outside. Hey, tornado.
Oh.
You're in a bad cell in Illinois there.
You're in a bad spot, yeah.
You sound like you're in a hurricane.
Yeah, he's in a hurricane right now.
Right. Or he's on the damn Titanic and it's sinking.
He's still talking.
He's still
Robot Slim.
AI Slim. How would you like to have the AI version of Slim Shady Canes? That would be surreal.
That would be problematic.
That would be problematic.
He's problematic enough already, dude.
Well, I mean, Slim knows everything, but if the AI really knows everything, then they, there's no stopping it.
The AI would probably just say, I can't compete and shut itself down.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slim arguing with his own AI. That would be top dog.
And gold.
That would be awesome. That would be terrific.
He says he argues the stop signs. Stop signs are going to be AI pretty soon, and so it'll be AI Slim and AI stop sign in an infinite loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. All right, so football. Who's winning these football games, man?
Which ones? Yeah, so the ones that matter, Florida and Utah.
I'd love to go to a football game, but I just haven't picked one. Vic, are you going to a football game?
I don't know.
Yeah. Pete, you going?
Well, I'm planning on going to Notre Dame and Clemson in November. I got to see. Hold on here. Slim's trying to get back in. I got to see exactly how much it's going to cost.
Right.
And a lot of that's going to depend on how good the two teams are the closer we get to it. I mean, what was it, 2020? We bought tickets pre-season, and they were almost $400 a piece. Of course, we didn't get to go. We got refunded for it because of COVID. But I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to wait till we get closer. I'm going to gamble. If both teams are undefeated, say hypothetically, then they're going to go up from where they are now. But if they're not, then they'll go down. I'm betting that they're going to go down, unfortunately.
I don't know, man. Okay. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I was talking with my old man about it, it's like November. What week is it?
It's November the 4th.
Yeah. I was talking about maybe even flying back from here to go to that game, but I don't know if it's going to be feasible.
That's an expensive trip for a football game.
I mean, if Upper Billy Paul's right, Clemson won't be undefeated.
What would he say?
He's picking Clemson to lose to Miami in Miami.
I don't think that's going to happen.
So he has Clemson. He has Clemson beating Florida State, but losing to Miami.
I actually think that's feasible because I think that's a game Clemson could easily look over because they should just run over Miami like they have.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the problem I feel like for Miami over the last few years is that even though most of the kids, all of them, that are growing up now and that are playing college football have never seen Miami be worth a damn, still know it's Miami, right? And so I don't think like at Miami is a game that Miami's Miami, man, and I think that actually works against Miami in a lot of instances.
Well, I don't think having a home game works against you.
No. I just mean it being Miami. Right?
Oh. He's just saying Miami sucks. That's what he's saying.
It doesn't make
That's
a
not
lot
what
of
I meant.
sense.
No, okay, let me rephrase. What I'm saying is that Miami still carries a certain cachet that their team hasn't lived up to in 20 years, but they still carry a certain cachet, as does the city of Miami. Oh, we're going down to Miami. We got to show out. It's like the opposite of NBA players going down to Miami because they spend the whole fucking time in the strip club and they end up getting their ass beat, right? But, college kids probably aren't really doing that. You know what I mean? So I feel like they go down there being like, oh, we're, a lot of these are country boys. They're going out, oh, we're in fucking Miami. We got to show out, like that.
Well, while I do think we'll beat Miami, I am not ready to write them off because like I said the other day, to me, they're maybe the most confusing team coming into the season.
That's weird.
I tend to think Clemson can lose that game, kind of for the reasons I said. You look at everybody thinks Georgia should have ran over South Carolina in 2019. Everybody thinks Bama should have run over Ole Miss for those couple of years. Clemson should have run over Syracuse and Pitt. I think it's a team that you don't see coming, and I think Miami kind of fits that bill. So it wouldn't. I'm not saying it will be Miami, but a team like that you think Clemson should just automatic W.
But if your position on this game is that Clemson could lose to Miami in as much as any team could lose to any other team, that's not super strong, dude.
Well, I take the opposite position, and not just to be different than Pete.
Right.
I mean, Pete looks at, okay, I think Florida State's good, we could lose that game, or I think Notre Dame's good, we could lose that game. I think the players and the coaches have those games circled just as much as the fans do. And to me, it's more likely that somebody like Syracuse a few years ago, or the other examples I've made, comes along and beats you.
I agree that I think it's unlikely that Clemson loses a game at home this year, which, I think
games on the road. I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is at home, so.
And FSU is at home, right?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Which is why, look, I don't imagine that we lose to South Carolina 2 years in a row, but we better come correct in that game.
Right. Yeah. I picked a loss to Notre Dame as Clemson's only loss.
I don't see that happening. I don't think that. Listen, dude, with what happened last year, I don't think that. I mean, I think that if Clemson loses at home to Notre Dame, it's because Notre Dame goes undefeated.
I think that Notre Dame is considerably better this year than they were last year.
I think that Notre Dame is going to beat one of Ohio State, Southern Cal, or Clemson.
Yeah, I'll take Southern Cal there.
And I agree with your point, Pete, about Miami. I'm really conflicted on where I think they're going to go. I think they're going to be better than last year, and Josh Pate made the same point.
Josh Pate?
Pate. Would you be supremely surprised at the end of the year if Miami had 6 wins or 9 or 10 wins? I don't think anybody would really be that surprised either way.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
I'd be surprised if they had 10. I'd be surprised if they had 10. I think that 8, 7, I think 8 is pretty reasonable.
I put 8 at their ceiling. I think if the ball bounces their way, they can end up at 9.
Yeah, Pete just said it. I think Sam Hartman improves Notre Dame to a degree that makes me a little bit nervous, to be honest. But I don't think I have a hard time predicting that Notre Dame's going to come in to Death Valley and win. But then again, I mean, like Georgia is similar to this, maybe Clemson more so. But I feel like, is Klubnik up to the task? If Cade Klubnik is up to the task, Clemson can win 11 or 12 games this season in the regular season. If he's not, we're not going to be a very good team. So it's what it is.
Well, I'm not a big prognosticator, but I think that Clemson's going to go undefeated this year.
I tend to agree with you, Scott. I mean, if you asked me to predict Clemson's record this year, I would say that we're 12-0. Now, I don't think that we're going to go 15-0. I'm not going to pick us to win the title or whatever. But I think that 12-0, I think that we're a playoff team this year. We might be a playoff team in that this year. I think that's possible.
I had Clemson with 1 loss and making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. So I remember that Pete last year said he didn't want to make the playoffs. So
what now?
I think you said you didn't want to make the playoffs and get blown out in the first round.
Yeah, I didn't say that preseason. I said that towards the end of the season. Yeah.
I would rather make the playoffs and lost to Georgia than losing to Tennessee in the Orange Bowl, honestly.
No, I tend to disagree with your overall. I don't pick anybody to go undefeated, including my own team, because it's hard to do. I mean, everybody picks on Florida because they're the most obvious example, but, I mean, they've never had an undefeated season, so that's not exactly an easy thing to do.
Of course not.
Of course not. Absolutely, and especially in college football.
Yeah.
Well, I would say I think that Clemson can go undefeated in the regular season, and as we've seen it happen multiple times now. But I don't think that we're the best team in the country.
Well, Georgia's challenge, I think, is going to be on the road, and we got to play Auburn on the road, and of course we got to play Tennessee on the road. And if you actually look at the Florida game, that's kind of on the road too. But
I'm not buying Tennessee.
The two challenges are really, to me, Auburn and Tennessee.
Yeah, okay.
Why is Tennessee a challenge? Please, somebody, I need an
on the road, I guess. It's on the road, I guess.
It's an island stadium. They're going to scream and yell. They're going to try to beat. They're going to try to beat the acoustic record or the audio record that Sanford Stadium did this past year when Tennessee played. They run a play every 5 damn seconds. Slim. That's why they're very, very.
Okay, but we have zero evidence that he can repeat that same formula and have success year after year.
Right, we have zero evidence. Right?
We do, but at the same time, I think Heupel's really got that team, humming. So they're probably going to be our biggest challenge.
Yeah,
I think that's right. I think Scott's right there.
An experience
on defense this offseason. I'm not familiar with recruiting.
No, I think they still are missing a defense. Okay,
they're a half a football team like USC. The only problem is Lincoln Riley's proven that he can repeat success and even make the playoffs with a half a football team. Josh Heupel hasn't.
Well, Georgia shut down Tennessee last year in their offense, and if they can do that again this year, then no problem. I don't see it being a problem at all.
I'm not saying Tennessee can't do it. I'm taking the position until proven otherwise. They're 2018 Miami.
Yeah, 2017 Miami. You mean?
No, last year would have been equivalent to 2017 Miami.
Okay, yeah, you know what?
The next year, Miami went, 7 or 8 wins, and Mark Richt ended up retiring. Now, granted, I think a lot of the reason that season fell apart was kind of because of Mark Richt and the things he had going on, but...
Well, Rick was doing everything. I mean, hell, Rick was not only the coach, he was offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator almost.
He was offensive.
Well, no, Manny Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a lot of help in coaching Miami in those last few years he coached.
Is Manny D's nuts at Penn State still?
Yes.
Yeah, and I've got Penn State making the playoffs. I got them winning the Big Ten.
Oh, fuck James Franklin.
What?
I got no hate for James Franklin.
I have a lot of hate for James Franklin.
Why?
Well,
because he beat Georgia when he was at Vanderbilt.
How does anyone hate James?
Well, that's one. Yeah, that is one.
Okay.
Two, I don't hear he's a very good guy at all.
Well, I don't think Kirby's up for humanitarian of the fucking year.
Yeah, come on.
I hope yes, he is.
Oh, stop.
Listen, there's pictures of him kissing puppies and cuddling cats.
All right. Well, I don't know what makes you think James Franklin is a bad guy, but.
Well, there's been a rumor he's always been a bad guy, that he's, his recruiting methods are not that high level, meaning that he does some unscrupulous things.
And you think Kirby doesn't?
Of course not.
Kirby, no, he does not. No, I don't think that Kirby's out there doing no. Kirby is not offering cocaine and hookers. Okay, no.
Okay.
Well, neither is Franklin.
Maybe he should. Maybe he should.
I'm not saying that Kirby Meyer is Urban Meyer or anything, but if you think absolutely everything he does is above board, you're fucking delusional.
Well, prove it to me then, Slim. What does he do that's not above board?
What does James Franklin do that isn't above board?
Yeah.
No, they probably all jerk off under the desks, so that's all below board technically.
I mean, I don't think Kirby Smart is organizing fucking car washes, if that's what you're asking, but...
Car wash. How weird.
I bet you Kirby has bought a hamburger or two for a recruit. I bet you he's done that.
He probably has. And I'm not holding that against him, but it's not above board.
Yes, not above board. It did get Jim Harbaugh suspended, so.
And I don't care that Jim Harbaugh bought somebody a hamburger either. Fucking whatever.
Yeah, how did he get in trouble for that, but not for spending the night, having to spend the night party with a recruit? That was weird.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
you want to talk about shit
Yeah,
not above board?
I guess if his parents thought it was okay, then.
I mean, you want to talk about shit not above board. Did you see the picture of that fucking middle schooler that Josh Heupel took a picture with? I'm sitting there looking at it like, fuck, blink if you're okay, kid.
Yeah. But did he do the finger guns in the butthole like Urban did in that bar?
What?
Urban likes to do that taint squeezing. That's what he's all about.
He does. That's right. Tushy. Hell yeah, dude.
I don't know. I just don't get the James Franklin hate.
All right. I'm going to pose a different question. So we all watch the NFL, right? More or less. Yes.
Not really, not anymore, not as much.
All right.
I do.
Okay, so
I watch Tampa games that are on TV.
Yeah. I know we got Slim's a Bucks fan. You're Pete. You're a Panther fan. I'm a Bengal fan. We probably got Vic. You're a Falcon fan, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're talking about the entire NFL. Which player from your school are you most excited to see in the NFL this year?
My school.
Well, this is
the
easy.
Whole defense of the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is easy for us, isn't it?
Right.
The Eagles defense.
Because the Eagles defense is really the Georgia defense of 2 years ago.
Which guy would you pick out? You talking about Jordan Davis, N'Kobe Dean? Who are you thinking about?
Yeah, N'Kobe Dean. Yeah.
Is it wrong
Jalen
of me
Carter.
to wish that? Is it wrong of me to wish the Eagles got Jonathan Taylor so we could have called their backfield Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude. I didn't even think about
Oh yeah, the Eagles did get DeAndre Swift. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but they got Rashad Penny. They're not gonna get John.
Yeah, I guess I'm excited about Lorenzo Carter because he plays for the Falcons. So.
True.
Yeah, and John Fitzpatrick. So.
Pete, what do you think? Which Clemson player are you most excited to see?
Well, it's easy for me. There's a bunch of them I'm looking forward to seeing. Like I just saw in the chat, Christian, who's a Clemson fan, said Justin Ross. So yeah, players like that that you want to see succeed. But the player that has a chance to go deep in the playoffs and make some noise is clearly Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess George Pickens. Yeah, it was with
I mean, since you brought up a deep playoff run, why not Belushi's Super Bowl pick of Deshaun Watson?
That would be mine. See, of course, as a Bengals fan, I would say T. Higgins or I'd say DJ Reader or something like that. But I know T. Higgins is about his shit. Deshaun Watson is my answer, man. I really, really believe that he's going to have a great year for them. And everyone's talking shit like he forgot how to play football or that, because he plays for the Browns. And listen, I like to make fun of the Browns like anybody else, especially as a Bengal fan. But I think that, man, I mean, I took him in my fantasy draft. I think that Deshaun's going to have a really good year, man. I really do.
Well, yeah. I mean, people's skepticism is understandable, though. I mean, the Browns and the Lions both kind of fall into that category of we got to see. We have to see them not do Browns and Lions things to really believe that.
But I agree with you. I think that the Browns are a team that's in a better position to succeed than the Lions, despite being in a much tougher conference and tougher division. I mean, I think the Lions can win that division. I think that's not out of the question. But the chances of the Lions making it to the NFC Championship game are nothing. That's not going to happen.
Well, and this is where I'll give the NFL credit for the people that gripe about parity in college football. There actually is parity in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
And teams can absolutely get hot at the right time. And, I mean, as much as people want to point at Tom Brady, and I'm not saying he had – no or even minimal to do with them making and winning the Super Bowl.
Well,
but it's undoubtable that the defense carried them through the Super Bowl and they got hot at the end of the season at the right time, carried them through the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. And the defense got hot at the right time. They rode a turnover wave all through the playoffs.
Sure. But with Tom Brady, I mean, fool me 6 times, fool me 7 times. I mean, come on, dude. Like, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'm not saying he had nothing to do with it, but like Sleeta was a big one. Oh, it was all Tom Brady. Listen, 97% of that team was there before Tom Brady got there.
It was Shaq Barrett, dude. Shaq Barrett wrecked that Super Bowl, man.
Well, Devin White was really the playoff MVP for the team.
Anton Winfield Jr. was a savage too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I really do feel uncomfortable about the Browns because again I'm a Bengals fan and the Bengals, man, are the best they've ever been in my lifetime right now. and I really want to see them win a Super Bowl before the window shuts. But I mean, I really feel like, you know, whatever the Browns over under in Vegas is on their wins this year, I definitely take the over. I think they're going to be a problem.
Stetson Bennett made it on the 53-man roster for the Rams.
That's right. He did. Bennett is now an NFL quarterback.
Yep.
This is what I find funny, because I actually think Rodrigo was good at it, and he just got cut by Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But I don't know the reason for that. We asked that before, and I don't know why he got cut. Because I think he's a damn decent punter. I mean, kicker.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
He might be doing some. He might be doing some of that masturbating under the desk. Who knows?
Might have been. Must have been the red specs, dude.
That's a possibility.
Look, I'm going to get out of here. You guys, be safe.
All right. See you later, Scott. I actually have to go. I actually have to go too. I got to go pick up my son from high school. It's pouring down rain. He can't walk home. Oh.
Come on. It builds character.
Yeah.
No.
The most predictable comment ever. Yes.
Yeah, from Slim it is.
Yeah, we just Slim. Yeah,
I mean, what's wrong? I'm sorry, but what's wrong with walking home in the rain?
Well,
made out of sugar, is he gonna melt?
Well, judging from my son, he definitely did not take an umbrella with him.
Yeah, back in Slim's day, he would have walked home in the rain.
Yeah, uphills both ways in the hurricane.
Who would have got struck by lightning and been stronger for it?
No, I'm not saying you'd be stronger for it, but people survive getting struck by lightning all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer my kid doesn't get struck by lightning.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it's
my
preferable.
preference.
I'm just saying it. Walking home in the rain, Jesus. Are we that soft of a society that walking home in the rain is going to kill somebody?
Are we that soft? They're getting struck by lightning. It breaks us down, dude. Anyways.
Well, you run really fast.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all for joining me today. Yes. I appreciate it. For any of you who are in the path of the storm, be safe. And Slim, be safe driving through. Where are you at? Indiana now?
Well, not quite. I've got 3 miles till I'm in Indiana.
All right. Well, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Well, fuck Duke, I guess. I mean.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Yeah, you blame Josh Peete for that, too. He started that shit.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming on. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, gentlemen. Take it easy. Talk to y'all soon.
All right. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Of course, I will be back tonight at 10 p.m. Well, provided that I have power. If I have power at 10 p.m. tonight, then the call-in show will be live. If not, I'll let you know. But I'm crossing my fingers. All right, everybody, have a great Wednesday, and I will see you tonight, hopefully.